All right, we are live. I actually gotta step out in a moment to do a couple emails, so I'll just shut it on my way out. Manny Gomez already in the chat. What's going on, Manny? I mean, you got that #1 crown fan badge for a reason. You're in before we are. New Rooster
Manny
Bear.
was in the
Yeah,
YouTube
Manny
live
commented
while we were in the
first.
YouTube live.
Manny was in the YouTube live and we were still on lunch. All right, it's Prime Week. We got Prime Week deals all week long. Things are good around here as far as getting batteries to the people. You came to the right place to get your deal. If you text us in 747-282-0538, we can hook you up with the custom live stream discount. As always, it's lower than our current Prime Day sales. It's lower than the prices you see on the site. It's a custom hookup just for you, just for being a live stream viewer. Text us in 747-282-0538. Brian and I will get your text right here in this room, and we'll give you that custom quote. Also, you can ask us anything about BatteryEVO products. Whether it's a Walrus, a Kong, a Rhino, or anything else, if you're at the beginning of your off-grid journey, or you already have panels and all that good stuff, you just want to store your energy, let us know. We'll help you out. We'll help you get started. I got to step out for a second, so Brian's going to hold it down. Be sure to ask him lots of questions.
Somebody asked a question in the chat.
Well, what's the question?
I have an end-phase system installed with 23 solar panels, grid tie. Will the backup battery work with my system?
Yes. All right, let me go back to the chat. Hang on, I'm trying to fix something.
Maybe he meant end phase?
Well, the end phase is the battery inverter. So Martin Latino, so he has first name plus ethnicity back to back. I have an end-phase system installed with 23 solar panels grid-tied. Will the backup battery work with my system? Martin, for the end-phase system, do you have battery and inverter, or you just have inverter for the solar panels? If you if you have solar panels, you have the solar going straight into the main electrical panel. What you can do is install a walrus unit into the main electrical panel, so you can get the grid-tied solar into the battery pack, and then you'll still need to utilize a sub panel to be able to get the backup battery's energy into your home. So in short, yes, it will work. Just depends on what you want to do. If you have a 48 volt end phase inverter, you can install a 48 volt backup battery, so you can keep your home running the way it is. Martin, can you let us know a little bit more about the setup you have at home? How is it currently operating? Do you currently have a backup battery? Then Evangelist came back into the chat saying what's up. Fallen Solar King is back. Who else are we missing? Providence? Providence. And then Rooster Bear. And I think that's the whole squad right there. Oh, and then Randy, I think.
Yeah.
Martin, if you're still in the chat, let us know a little bit more about your setup. The classic viewers are jumping in the chat. We're going to try to invite some people to come into the YouTube Live. In the meantime, you guys know that we set up the YouTube Live to try to get you guys YouTube Live pricing. So if anybody's seeing this on the website or on the internet or anywhere, you can text the number on screen and get
the ultimate hookup.
Get a hookup. These thumbnails are crazy looking, Chris. You made these, right?
Yeah, and then Nick animated them to jump around and stuff. I think you should actually make one of you guys, but like in the Power Ranger outfits. I think that'd be a good one. It's like lightning thunder.
Is that really how you're coming up with the ideas? Like you're just like, I wonder if this would be great with Power Rangers.
Yeah.
And then you just make them?
Yeah. I was gonna throw in
I
there.
love how it's crazy how the AI just like just enough like us, but just enough not like us to just look crazy.
Like if one of those rolled up to the office one day, I'm scared. Like, oh, it's me. That's
In
Brian.
one of those.
It's me. It's Brian. It's your pal.
All right, so right here it says, it's not shipped. I told him I'm traveling out of the country. Please help. Evangelist, if you need help with the orders, call the number up on the screen up here. They can get you updates on your order. I don't have any of the order details here on my computer. And then Martin says, so I have 23 microinverters, convert power into AC, and it's going straight to the main panel, no other backup batteries. Okay, so if you're doing it this way, you can utilize a walrus unit. You're going to need to install a NEMA port into the main electrical panel so you can take the grid-tied solar and power the walrus unit. And then you're going to want to use a sub-panel so you can reroute the energy away from the main electrical panel and back into your home. I don't know what I just did. I kicked something.
That's good. So it's just the light, I think.
Oh,
Oh, it's the camera.
this whole set's falling apart. There you
Move it a little
go.
bit?
Now I got it.
You got it?
So, Martin, have you seen this walrus unit? Have you seen the way it works? I'm going to send you the link to the unit so you can take a look at it. It's a pretty easy install. This should work with your grid-tied solar so that you can get the solar energy and then use it for backup battery, or you can use it during the nighttime. I'm going to send you the link to this unit. This is the G4 Plus. This is the more popular one right now. So you're gonna want to use these walrus units the same way you would do a backup generator install. All you need is a port and then a sub panel, and then you can store your grid tied solar into the battery pack using a NEMA port. I'm also gonna add the materials list here so you can see what you'll need to do the install. I think we need to have like a different background thing because it's like cool to have the jumping around, but then after a while we kind of need it to show
you
stuff.
Probably change it to one of the process videos.
Yeah, or like just kind of like maybe if we just put like the electrical panel components. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, just still image?
Remember how we had that image of the 3D render with like the ports and like the panels and
just the one that shows kind of like a G3 floating next to the panel and the sub panel?
Yeah, and then we had one that had like the cables plugged into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like something like that. So I could just point at it and be like, you're going to need this, you're going to need this, you're going to need that. Because after some time, it's just kind of like, we're just jumping around. It's kind of distracting.
Oh yeah, maybe they can put like the floating image just right above you a little bit so you can point to it. Unless you want the whole background to be that.
I'm also adding for anybody who is interested in figuring out how to install one of these, the materials list for the walrus units. So you will need to utilize a sub panel. It's much safer to use a sub panel than trying to use a transfer switch on your main electrical panel. Trying to do a install through the main electrical panel could cause a loop, and it could burn your inverter, or you could potentially short circuit your main electrical panel. So we always recommend using a sub panel to be able to reroute the energy away from the main electrical panel and back into your home off the grid. So it doesn't matter if your home doesn't have solar panels now, you could still use the unit with time of use settings. You could still use the unit as a backup power appliance. If you have grid tied solar, you can store the excess solar. If you want to go off grid, you can do PV off grid solar panels, so you don't have to rely on the grid for energy or for anything. So you could basically have a $0 utility bill and still power your home. Still power everything in your home using the walrus units. If you feel the Walrus G3 or G4s do not have enough battery capacity for your home, you can always add expansion packs, up to 8 of them, or you can upgrade to like a Walrus Pacific or a Walrus G3 Pro, which by default already have more kilowatt hour capacity. If some of you guys have 5-ton ACs and need a really strong inverter, we have G3 Pro with the 22K inverter and 44 kilowatt hour to start, and then we have a 66 kilowatt hour battery pack with the 22K inverter on the G3 Pro. The G3 Pro can also take much more solar panels because it has the double PV inputs. So if you have a home that requires more solar and you have much bigger power draw appliances, G3 Pro is the way to do it. If anybody wants a G3 Pro today or a King Kong 2 48 volt battery pack, I'll hook them up. That could be deal of the day. Otherwise, you could just watch the weird AI configurations of me and Nick jumping around. Oh my god. Those things look crazy.
So big, we're all
If anybody's just joining the stream, what is the biggest battery you have? Technically, it would be the Komodo. The Komodo is the 94 kilowatt hour battery pack. But if you're trying to get the most out of a battery, you could probably pair up the King Kong 2s. If you paired 8 of those together, you'd get quite a lot of backup power. But standalone battery pack would be the Komodo. The Komodo's battery pack is at 94 kilowatt hour. Second to that would be King Kong 2. Third to that would be the Rhino 4. And then it would be the Walrus G3 and G4 packs. Martin, are you still in the chat? Let me know. Let's try to figure out how we can get you a battery pack for your microinverter setup. We also did do a video. If anybody does have the microinverters on their solar panels, as long as they're not being leased and you bought them, we did do a video to show how to go around the microinverters to get DC energy out of your solar panels. So you can do a half grid tied / half off grid setup. That's in our YouTube if anyone's interested. Now that video is designed for educational purposes because doing such a install, depending on how you got your grid tied solar panels, could void your solar panels warranty. But if it's informational enough and some of you DIYers can pull it off, I mean, that's a good way to take your existing solar system and then kind of create a off-grid solar system. But you just got to ask. There's plenty of ways to do it. Do you think the 23 solar panels that I have are enough to charge the G4? I think that'd be more than enough. You'd want to know how much how much wattage are the solar panels. When you guys are talking about solar panels in the chat, if you try to let us know how much the wattage of the panels are, because otherwise we don't know. We have no stats. 23 panels could be 23 100 watt panels, or it could be 23 1000 watt panels. 23 solar panels should probably be enough. If it's being used to power your home now, it should be able to charge the power pack. And it's good to note that the Walrus's battery pack is very big. So it's got 23 kilowatt hour. There's a good chance you're not going to use up all of the battery pack's power overnight. So you're not recharging the battery pack from 0 to 100 every single time. You're only charging up whatever you ended up using, kind of like your cell phone. If you only used up 50% of it during the day, then you just charge it back up to 100 at night. In your case, if you only use 50% of it at nighttime, you'll replete the other 50 in the daytime when the sun comes out. But try to find out how much solar you're bringing in now, and I can let you know how long it'll take to charge. But if you have a grid-tied solar system with 23 panels currently powering your home, it should be more than enough to power the Walrus unit. You can continue to ask questions in the chat so we can help you and help everybody else who joins. But if you guys are ready to get a battery pack and just want to get a good deal, Prime Day deals, the units were already discounted. But with YouTube Live, you could text the number on screen, and then you can get a better deal. You can also call the number up top if you guys have customer support questions, or if you choose to talk to someone on the phone. Best deals are when you text, but if you prefer to talk to someone on the phone, you can call the number up here, or you can text the number below. If you text the number below, I'll receive it here in this room. I could see your messages, try to get you a good deal. Otherwise, just keep asking in the chat. I mean, it helps when everybody asks things in the chat, then it helps other people learn about the battery packs. It helps you guys build a community. I know that you guys all like battery packs and try to go off grid. Also, it's a good thing to note that the chat sometimes is like a little bit delayed to what the YouTube Live is going. So maybe as you're chatting, my response is coming out maybe like a minute later. Just one thing to note. So that's just kind of how YouTube works. I mean, I don't have any control over that. So if anybody's just joining the chat, we're talking about battery packs and how to get good deals on them. Did this work? Did I do it right? No, it didn't work. Okay, if you're still here, Martin, keep asking questions if you need to. Let us know what the wattage of your solar panels are. I'll let you know. And then IOC Fam jumped in and automatically got the number 3 spot.
Nice.
IOC Fam, have you been in this chat before? If I move my AC unit to the sub panel and the battery breaks down, how do I keep the AC unit running? You should potentially have a breaker of the AC unit on your main electrical panel and then one on your sub panel. So in case something like this does happen, you could still run grid power to your AC. You don't want to offset 100% all of the breakers over to the sub panel in case there's no energy to it. So you don't want to disconnect it. Just create a new wire or a new breaker and then configure it to the wiring in your home, and then you can shut off the main and then run through the sub panel. So if you take off the breaker out of your main and then run it in the sub panel and you don't have any battery pack power, you're right, you won't have any energy to the AC unit. So it's probably better to have a extra breaker that goes to the AC unit on the sub panel, and then just turn it on and off as you need. You could use automatic transfer switch or manual transfer switch. In the van on the road, says, hi guys, I was intending to buy 2 more 12-volt Owl Max 2, but it's currently out of stock. I currently have 2 in parallel and wanted to add 2 more. Is the Razorback parallel compatible with the Owl Max 2? That one might, I'm not 100% sure in the van because they have different kilowatt hour capacities, so they might not match up. They might not sync up properly. For this question, you might want to call the number up on the screen and they'll hook you up. Maybe you can get the Owl 105s to match up to that. You might want to call the number up here so you can figure that one out. I'm not 100% sure. They are the same voltage, but I think because one has much more kilowatt hour capacity, it might not sync up. All right, so they are both G4 plus sub panel. How to use the G4 Plus to power a little building in standalone without TOU. Just plug it like a generator, but what are the steps? What mode to use? Evangelist, have you bought a battery pack from us before? G4 Plus sub panel, how to use the G4 to power a little building in the standalone without TOU. Just plug it like a generator, but what are the steps? What mode to use? It'll work just like a generator. There's no other modes you need to use. You would only need to configure the settings for TOU. Otherwise, it just operates as normal. You just turn on the battery pack and it should power through the sub panel. You just need a generator port, the same way you would do a generator. So you're correct, you just plug it in like a generator. So I added the materials list up above. Maybe I could pin it. I don't know if it works. Let me know if it works. Let me know if the links work. Sometimes they don't work. But the materials list is there. So yes, you just install a sub panel, put your breakers in there, and then attach it to a generator port, and then install the Walrus unit with the included 50 amp cables. If it's a ADU with no primary power, you're gonna need to use some solar panels to power it off grid. If you want to use a generator, you can connect the generator. It has to be 220 volts and minimum 5 kW generator, and then you would install or connect it to the 50 amp AC inputs on the Walrus unit. There's like the plugs on the side for the input. You just plug the generator to the 50 amp AC input to get generator power into the battery pack's power, and then use the AC output into the sub panel. Evangelist, have you got a battery before? I thought maybe you had got one already. In the van on the road, they are both 4 kW. Well, then maybe it's possible that they do work together, but again, I'm not sure because the BMSs might. I'm not sure. My short answer is I don't know if they'll work together. So your best bet is probably to call the number up on the screen. We have the text. They'll tell you if it does or doesn't. They've probably tested it before. But if you call over there and tell them you're watching the YouTube live, they'll hook you up on the Razorbacks. So maybe it does. Martin Latino again says, I don't know the size of the panels, but in a good sunny day, one panel produce 45 kW per an hour, 1 megawatt hour in 1 month, I think. Is that true, Martin? One panel is doing 45 kWh. How? That seems like a lot for one panel. Because even if you had one 1,000 watt panel, you could not produce 45 kWh. You would not be able to produce 45 kW with a 1,000 watt panel, because you only get about 6 hours of peak sunlight. So max, you're gonna get probably 6 to maybe 8 kW out of a single panel, and that would be a 1,000 watt panel running at full efficiency with as much sunlight as possible. So Martin, maybe take a look at your electric bill and then take a look at your numbers one more time. Maybe the entire system is producing 45 kW. I don't think that one panel is producing 45 kW. That would be a lot. And if you're doing 1 megawatt hour a month, are you completely using up all that power? It seems like a lot. You might want to run your numbers one more time. If you're doing 45 kW a day over a 28-day average, I mean, you could get a megawatt hour worth of electricity into your home. I guess the question would not be how much are you using? How much would you want to store? Because if this is the case, then you're going to need a really big battery pack. If you're producing 45 kW a day, let's say you're using 20, you still got another 20, a G4 would still be perfect. Yes, I have G4 Plus, just waiting for battery expansion pack. That's why I asked for your help to speed up shipping since last week. Yeah, if you want to get shipping updates, call the number up on the screen. I don't have access to do customer support, so I can't help with that part here. I could really only just talk about the battery packs, answer any questions, and then provide YouTube live discounts. I don't have fulfillment updates on my computer. So if you need help with that, call the number on the screen. You got to call this one. This one does not take text. Once you get in communication with one of those guys, they might be able to text you, but they'll have updates on your order. Otherwise, I don't have anything. Um, Alright, so I'm getting your guys' text messages. If you guys are interested in getting a battery pack, remember it's Prime Week sales. We tend to sell out during these sales. So if you guys want a battery pack, message it now. So that you can get locked in for pricing and for inventory, because we'll probably be out of product soon, and then we're going to have to wait a couple weeks to go on back order. Are the outlets in the front of the Walrus always powered by the battery, or they default to whatever power source is in use? So they will default to the battery pack's power. If you're using the solar bypass mode, then it'll use the solar bypass, but it will default to the battery pack's power. That's the only place it can draw power out of, unless you have solar panels or a generator flowing through it. Kevin says, I need a unit at least 2,400 watts, but has a 240 volt output for BU power on a remote well pump. Recommendations. Kevin, you could use a Walrus G4 Plus that has 240 volt options, and it's well over 2,400 watts. It should be able to help you with that. Where do you live, Kevin? Have you been in the chat before, Kevin? And where do you live? A lot of these guys need the well pump thing. I'm taking that info from the Enphase app. So, but I don't think that one panel is producing 45 kW. It just seems like a lot. On average, a panel can produce 1 kW, like on the high end. And even if you get 8 hours of sunlight, that's only 8 kW. So unless you have like a 5,000 watt panel, then maybe. But it does make sense that you could use up a megawatts worth of energy throughout the month. That does make sense to me. So if that's the case, you want to average out how much you'll need for the day.
All right, cool questions. Pretty active chat here today,
Brian,
guys.
I didn't understand your answer. Let's say I use to power a small building with a generator. How to use the same G4 Plus temporary use, not recharging yourself. The generator is probably running through a generator port. So the G4 Pluses come with the exact same generator plug. So the way that your generator is plugged into your ADU now, you're basically just swapping out the generator for the battery pack. The cables is the same. So if you're using a generator port to plug the generator into, you're going to use, it has to be 50 amps. So if you're using the same 50 amp generator port, you just plug this one into it. So it should be pretty simple. Do you think the G3 can run a 5-ton AC in Arizona? It's not recommended to use a G3 on a 5-ton AC.
Yeah,
you probably want a
G4
Plus.
Yeah, you'd want to go G4 Plus or a G3
Pro. Remote mountains in North Carolina. That's cool.
I got some family in North Carolina. What part of North Carolina? On peak hours, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m., do you think I can use G3 for 6 hours if it only runs the AC?
Well, it's probably not going to run your 5-ton AC. So the short answer is no. Now, does it have enough battery capacity? Probably yes. But you're going to need a bigger inverter. So you're going to probably want G4 Plus, and you want to install a soft starter.
Yeah.
That's going to help reduce the load coming into the unit to help you get more time on your thing. Now, it has enough battery capacity to do the 6 hours. It might not have a strong enough inverter. So that's why you want G4 Plus or G3 Pro.
Yeah, Prominence just came in to suggest the soft start as well. We always recommend soft starts because they're just good for your battery and inverter system. Just in general, it's good for the health of the system, but especially when it comes to ACs, when you're running your higher power ACs, 4-ton, 5-ton, that's going to really help mitigate the high power draw when the AC unit kicks on. definitely, regardless of what walrus system you go with, make sure to grab yourself a soft start. You can grab them on Amazon. Super, super helpful.
Yeah, remember, if you guys are ready to just get a deal, you could just text the number below. You don't have to stick around if you don't want to.
That's true. You don't even have to have asked a question. You could just be silently lurking in the chat. You can still text 747-282-0538. Brian gets your text right here in this room. He'll give you the custom quote. Again, that's lower than the current Prime Day sale you see on our site.
Starter works. The closest city is Boone and North
Boone,
Carolina.
Boone.
Why do I want to say New York City? Walrus G4 remote well pump backup power. G4 is a good chance. The G4 just has a better inverter. So if you guys have some of those like well pumps with like the crank start, or you have like a 4-ton, 5-ton AC, you want to do G4 Plus. G3 has a big battery bank, but the inverter might not be able to sustain the startup. I was gonna ask you if you can replace the background for the one where it's like the G3 with like the main panel and the sub panel, so I can point at it.
Yeah, the like walrus install animation one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let me pull that up. I still got zebra steaks pulled up on the computer from last time. You remember that?
Yeah. So, okay, there you go. So it says, sorry, in a good sunny day, one panel can produce 1.77 kW. Okay, that's starting to make sense. So that means you probably have like a 200 watt panel. Yeah, like a 250 watt panel potentially. Maybe 300 watt panel. And then you have 23 of these. So now that's getting you closer to that number that you said that you're maybe producing about 45 kW daily. If that's the case, G4 Plus is going to be a great base that has 23 kilowatt hours, so you'll create a buffer. If you want to utilize up all that solar, you might want to upgrade to G3 Pro, which has 44 kW. If that's the case, then you'll basically be able to fully charge every single day. And then you'd create a large enough buffer where you could use up your solar, get your rebates, and then use the battery pack to sustain you. So you're just basically collecting rebates all day long. But yeah, that makes more sense, Martin.
Savings on savings on savings. Text us in. We'll give you savings on savings. We'll give you 10% off that, 25% off that, 30% off. You do the math.
All right, so people are joining in slowly. As you're joining, you can feel free to ask a question.
See a lot of new faces in here today, or
didn't we have like that image that Andy made?
usernames.
There's like one image that Andy made, where it's just like the unit on a wall. You know which one it is, right?
Yes, and
I think that's probably the easiest one to show people. Okay, so I have a G3 and 2 batteries. Can I get a G3 Pro on sale for my second battery for my air conditioning? Yeah, you can do
Totally.
that.
Yeah, we'll hook you up. Especially since you already have a G3, we always try and give good deals to returning customers. Let me set this to loop in the meantime. I would love to hook you up on a G3 Pro. Just be sure to tell everybody that Nick hooked it up for you, not Brian.
Boom, voided.
Okay, got these images. Joshua says, would that work also? And wow, LOL. Yeah, of course. The G3 Pro would definitely work as well. Now, one thing you want to consider with your, since you have a G3, the G3 Pro consists of the extension batteries for the G3. So basically, as you know, it's like inverter on top, battery on bottom. The G3 Pro is an additional inverter. It's a higher power inverter than what's on the standard G3. It's actually our highest power inverter that we currently have. So great for that air conditioning, like you're saying you want to use it for air conditioning. Perfect for that, with or without soft starter. That's our best inverter for that. Still recommend soft starter though, always. But yeah, it'll work. And also the thing is with the since it's made up of 2 of those extension batteries, that's why it's double capacity. It's at 44 kilowatt hours instead of 22. And you could actually, in theory, take one of those extension batteries, disconnect it from your G3 Pro system that you'll put together, and go plug it into your other Walrus G3, because it'll still be compatible. So with a G3 Pro, you'd actually have extensions for your other battery on hand. You could move them around as needed. They're modular in that sense. But do I need a website for graphs, or can we all help build one? LOL.
Wait, where was it?
I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that. I mean, graphs are always helpful. Every situation can be improved with a graph.
What? Yeah. What do you?
What graph though? Brian got me the hookup last week on an extension. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that was me.
No way.
I'm pretty sure I have this bad habit where I'm texting people and I accidentally I'm like, hey, this is Brian. Hey, this is Nadine. But it's just, it's always me.
It's never you. It's actually never you.
I'm lying. It wasn't me. Gotta come clean. But yeah, we could totally help you out. Text us in 747-282-0538. I'm looking through the chat. I want a website, not the app. Are you talking about
I want a website, not the app?
Like to track your battery use? Are you talking about a website to track that information instead of the app? Because I like that idea. It's probably easier for us to manage an update than an app too, if that is what you're suggesting. Honestly,
somebody is texting in about the G3 Pro, so potentially this could be deal of the day.
Brian, that actually we should do what Joshua was saying.
What is it?
Honestly, he's saying to have a website where they can access the info for the stuff that's on the app, because everybody has problems with the app. Nobody likes the app. We should have a website or web page where they can go and see that info, like the live info on their battery. Maybe a little more user friendly.
I guess if they showed me where the app lives, then maybe I'd build it, but I don't know how.
Yeah, I know it'd be a process.
I could try.
But I think in theory, and this is just me.
I guess if we just knew how to connect to the battery pack, then it's in theory not that hard.
Yeah, for me, in theory, it's that seems like if once it was set up, it would be easier for us to maintain it and make updates to it and stuff than it currently is for us to do with the app. That's my reasoning. Joshua dropping bombs on us. Good bombs.
Yeah.
Good bombs.
Good bombs only.
Very good.
Magic Fries came in and said website would be awesome. All right, you guys hear the consensus. Yeah, Prominence says, can we get a mobile-friendly website? We've opened up Pandora's box.
Oh man, we're working on it. All right, we're working on everything you just said.
Brian's gonna stay late tonight. Do a little typing on the keyboard. We're gonna put it together. I'm gonna get some glue and some tape and build this web page.
Yeah.
I can do it for you. Joshua, are you a programmer? What do you do? Everybody in the chat, start dropping in your career paths in the chat. Let's figure out what everybody does.
Get to know you guys a little better.
How about 4 tons? You think the G3 can run it? The G3 is not recommended to run anything bigger than a 2.5 ton AC. And even then, we recommend a soft starter. It has enough battery capacity to sustain it, but on load up, on first load, it might not be able to handle it. So we're not going to tell you something that's not true. So IOC fam, are you
Evangelist.
looking to install a central AC, or do you already have a 5-ton AC? It's not going to run anything over 3-ton AC. It's just not recommended to do so. Some people can pull it off, but it's not recommended. It could void your warranty. If the battery pack is not used as intended, it can void the warranty. So short answer is no. Could you get tricky with it and figure it out? Yes, but
Prominence is a handyman and a landlord.
DB,
Looks like Michael came in here.
The admin sequel. Oh man, look.
Which
we got a lot of
Walrus
people
can
in here.
handle 5-ton? The best for 5-ton would be the Walrus G3
I'm a handyman
Pro.
and landlord. All right.
Walrus G3 Pro's
Michael
got the best
Stroff,
inverter for that.
What is your yearly salary?
Hey, you're getting personal.
I want to know
You're
what
not
the yearly
supposed to
salary
ask.
is for.
What is it? You're not supposed to ask a woman their age or a man how much money they make. Isn't that a saying?
I want to know how much he makes. He's a DB admin SQL programmer. I mean, can we guess?
I'm not gonna guess.
All right, let's just see if he answers.
I don't want them in the chat guessing what a creative director makes.
You can guess how much you think Nick makes. I'll tell you if it's higher or lower. Prominence perspective says a handyman and a landlord.
But yeah,
Which
for
Walrus can
the
handle a 5-ton?
for the 5-ton, I'd recommend G3 Pro. That's got
G3
the best
Pro.
inverter.
G3 Pro could for sure do it.
G4 Plus would be a good pick also, but I would really recommend that G3 Pro. Joshua says, yeah, programmer. I say open source it. Nick, how to get that deal? You
Got
have
a
me
text.
info. I should get back to driving. Michael says 100K. ...
What's the ... mean?
No, me and Joshua got like our own little private rapport between us, inside jokes, you know.
I say
You wouldn't really get
source it. Nick, how do I get the deal? You have me info. I should get back to driving. And I can upgrade the inverter. IOC fam. If you already IOC fam's the one with the G3s? The G3, if you want the upgraded inverter, you need the G3 Pro. The G3 Pro is the upgraded inverter with the G3 battery packs.
Evangelist, healthcare consultant. Also,
the
Evangelist
links
came
in
in
here.
and said, I sent some screenshots from my electricity provider. I went from almost $10 per day to 65 cents per day. No kidding. Wow, prominent or Evangelist. That's really, really, really great demonstration of that daily savings, and just think about how much that adds up. Super cool. Thanks for sending us those. Farm says yes. Just ordered G3. Can I switch?
Is this a success?
Can you help them out?
Oh, look. Okay, so Evangelist asked me, Brian, is this a success story? Went from almost $10 a day to 65 cents a day.
That's a lot. Just what's the percentage saving on that? That's
lot.
crazy. That's more than 90%.
That's fire.
So Evangelist has a success story in here of how his power consumption has gone down. Wow.
Very cool.
And look, I think he's using it most during this part between 5 a.m. and about 3 p.m.
Yeah, I see.
So he basically
That's
killed.
when he's going off
well,
the grid.
I mean, yeah, because I guess the whole thing is like that's when the energy's being used.
Joshua says 70 to 10 for me. It's good to hear.
70
Good to hear
10?
from you guys.
What's 70 to 10? What does that mean?
I think he went from 70 to 10. Like that's his savings. That's my
Oh, got it.
guess.
Is G3 Pro really good for a lot of solar panels? Like enough panels to power a single family home? That one is actually the best for that situation. It's going to take the most amount of solar panels. But for a single family home, you can get away with G3, G4. You only want the G3 Pro for the 5-ton AC.
Guys, I'm gonna keep it real with you. So oftentimes, like you look at iPhones or whatever, it's like you look at whatever the most recent number is, and you're like, that's got to be the best one. We pick up that G4. G4 is really, really good, but my completely honest opinion, G3 Pro is our best unit that we currently have. I think that is our best all-in-one system, without a doubt, compared to all of them. So I would recommend for basically any scenario, that G3 Pro is gonna fit. It's just with the inverter upgrade on it in particular is the reason why. A lot of our batteries match the capacity or have higher capacity than G3 Pro, but that inverter is unique to the G3 Pro, and it's our best one as far as power draw. Lance Kruger Photography. How many watts can the Walrus G4 Plus be charged from the wall with a 120 volt or 220 volt? How long would it take to charge an empty battery with each? Because we do have the DC in, but that's like not the fastest way to recharge your Walrus. The fastest way to recharge your Walrus typically with our products, the fastest recharge is with the 50 amp extension.
Okay, so the tricky thing about the G4 Plus before, it's like we don't have the 120 volt wall charger for that unit. We have it for the G3s, but not for G4 Plus. So technically, you can't. Technically, you can't. So you're gonna want to use the AC grid charge on your from your main electrical panel or solar panels. We don't have a 110 volt charger that plugs into the wall yet. If you're going to 20 volt, you're gonna basically be running out of your main electrical panel using the 50 amp port. It just depends on how much wattage you're bringing into the unit. On 220 volts, it could be about 5 hours. On 120 volts, it could be like about 10 hours from 0 to 100. Lance, what are you trying to power? Have you been in the chat before? I have a current solar system and the company installed is saying my warranty will be void if I hook up anything other than the following: Enphase, Tesla, Franklin. That would probably, Paul, so maybe that is possible. So you can potentially void your solar panel warranty by installing a different battery pack than what they're describing to you. But when you use a Walrus unit, you don't directly plug to the solar panels. You're plugging into the main electrical panel. You're going to create a breaker on the main electrical panel that grabs the energy from your solar, like the way it runs as normal now. You just have a new breaker. Yeah,
there's no direct connection between your solar panels and your battery.
So as far as they know, you're not connecting to the solar panels, and then you're going to use a sub panel to route the energy away from the main panel, away from your solar panels, and into your home. So you're technically not touching your solar panels. So the Walruses work the same way that a backup generator would. You're not touching your existing grid system. You're just installing a breaker to your main electrical panel so that you can get power into the unit, and then you're powering your home through a sub panel. But Paul, you are right. Some companies will probably void
That's
your
so
warranty.
Restrictive, you know.
I think it has to do so it doesn't mess with certain things, you know, and
Yeah,
like the
I
AC
gotcha.
coupling involved. Our units do not do AC coupling, so that's probably why. But again, you're not tying into the system, so as far as they know, you haven't touched it. G3 Pro, I have to wall mount. No, G3 Pro has wheels. Magic Fries. Are you looking?
No. G3 Pro does wall mount. Basically, it's because it's the two.
The
it's
inverter.
the two batteries, and the batteries are on wheels. You move those around. But the inverter itself comes with a bracket to mount on the wall above the batteries.
Okay. Tech order says not yet, not even shipped yet. Purchased on the 3rd. If you purchased on the 3rd, you purchased right around everybody went on holiday. So that probably backed up the orders. There's no fulfillment going on Saturdays and Sundays and holidays. So that probably pushed back the shipping date. How does that work when the grid is down? Paul, when the grid is down, you're using the battery pack's power to power your home through the sub panel. So when the grid is out, the main electrical panel is off. But the unit, there you go. The unit is still plugged into your home using the generator port into the sub panel. So if the grid isn't working, you're still getting energy out of the battery pack. Now, if you're charging from the grid, you just won't charge while the power is out. But when the power comes back on, it'll start to charge. If you're trying to avoid this, you can get a small solar kit, 4 panels, to charge off the grid and then power your home through the generator port and the sub panel. Notice the sub panel and the main electrical panel are not connected to each other, meaning they're not talking to each other. So if the main electrical panel is out because of a power outage, you'll still get energy through the battery pack. Oh damn, being a weatherman's probably not as easy as you think, huh?
Especially not
Yeah.
those like dancing weathermen that go viral.
50% of 15K only takes about 2 hours for me to charge my system. Nick, what makes the inverter in the G3 Pro better than G4 Plus? When would you want to choose one over the other?
Specifically, it's the peak surge that you can take. Could you pull up the kVA difference on those so we can be
Yeah,
specific?
so it's 22 kVA on the G3 Pro. The G3 Pro has a much bigger inverter. That's
Yeah,
the main difference.
It's just like
It's right here.
the biggest example and the most relatable example would be like to take a 5-ton AC. Like those systems have a huge power draw when they kick on, and with some inverter systems, like some of our older generations and just a lot of our competitors, that peak surge that happens at the time that a 5-ton AC kicks on is beyond the max output for that inverter and will cause a system to shut down, and then your AC doesn't turn on. So the G3 Pro is better for that specifically. It will more reliably kick on high draw utilities. So if you know you have like a 4-ton, a 5-ton AC that you're going to be regularly relying on, that would be a situation where you'd want to choose the G3 Pro over the G4 Plus. Now the G4 Plus is still like ready and capable to handle AC units, especially if you put a soft starter on it, but the G3 Pro it just that much better. You're going to have a more reliable system and a higher max power draw. Mark Nye says, do the Walruses have built-in heaters for the batteries for colder climates? They do not have built-in heaters. They do have the opposite. We have ventilation and fans and everything. But there is a battery management system built into every unit. It's an artificial intelligence powered BMS that is proprietary, designed by our founder and our people here at BatteryEVO. And that monitors everything from temperature to your discharge rate, and it can make adjustments to the running of your battery as needed. So if your battery was getting too cold or whatever, too hot, it can shut it down, and also will notify in the system, like in your menu, you can see all the live info. Paul says, gotcha, I was just hoping to use my solar system. Yeah, so you'd still be able to use your solar. This is like the case for any Walrus or any like solar battery install like ours. You have your main electrical panel, which is what I'm assuming your solar is currently connected to. You would install a sub panel, which is separate from your main panel, to run and connect the battery to. So therefore your battery's never actually interacting with your solar panels directly. You'd run the solar energy into your main panel, then from your main into your Walrus, and then from your Walrus into your sub, and back into the house. So you'd still be able to use your solar panels, and I mean, if anything, the Walrus is the best way to maximize the use of your solar panels. If you want to double check with your warranty details, make sure that like the fact that they are disconnected via the panel and sub panel maybe would help you, maybe not, but that's you'd still be able to make full use of your panels. Magic Fry says G4 more mobile. G4 is, I would say, yes, more mobile than the G3 Pro. The G3 Pro, the inverter has to be wall mounted, so it'd be harder to move the inverter around. With the G4 and just the standard G3, the inverter is built on top of the battery, and the battery's on wheels, so you can roll around your entire unit easier. So G4 is more mobile than G3 Pro. Lance says, does the Walrus G4 Plus and G3 Pro have GenCom? What is the best tri-fuel generator to use with that feature to charge up the G4 Plus or G3 Pro, Gen Max, any others? It does have a generator communication port with Ethernet to communicate with the inverter, etc.
Tell us where he lives.
No, I don't know. I don't know the best specific generator to pair with it. We have paired gas generators with our walruses for some video content. Video content that we've shot here, and we just got a basic adapter to convert the power output from the generator to a 50 amp extension so that we could plug it directly into the AC in on the walrus and just charged it up that way. We didn't have any issues and didn't encounter problems. Specifically, you would just want to make sure that whatever you get is compatible with 50 amp in, AC in, or get a adapter so that you can convert. Prominent says, can I install an additional charge controller to have 2 different solar arrays? I know that
Technically,
people,
yes.
yeah, people have and do make modifications like this to their walruses. They add or swap out the charge controller, but it can void your warranty. So I don't think that I can officially tell you to do that. You can do it. It is possible. Lance says South Texas. Yeah, we get a lot of people from Texas in here. I mean, Texas has the nights free energy, which is really great for systems like the Walrus, where you can set it to charge and discharge with time of use, to really just make that free energy at night last you all day too. So yeah, we get a lot of people around here just trying to cut their bills in Texas. How much does a sub panel cost to install? Guess that depends on your area, but generally, what would you say, like a couple $100 for a sub panel install, Brian?
For the install?
Yeah, sub panel.
I guess it's gonna mostly depend on your electrician and how much running of wire they're gonna have to run, but it could be anywhere from like $500 to $3,000 depending on your state, location, electrician, and how much conduit you're gonna need. The equipment, it shouldn't be that much expensive though. It should be like about $200.
Yeah. Almost every C10 licensed electrician has experience putting in sub panels like this. It's a very common and relatively lower cost install. Prominence says sub panels like $1,000. Yeah. I mean, and Prominence. I would trust Prominence's word on that one. If you guys haven't checked it out, Prominence has documented his experience with the Walrus. We watched it on stream last week. Be sure to check out his content. He put a lot of work into that video. How do I hook up a gas generator if I don't want solar input? How large of a generator should I get? And how long would it take to charge the one battery up if I hooked up that generator? And Magic Fry says, okay, and I need the port to plug the Walrus in. Yeah, you need sub panel with generator port. Generator port specifically is the port that you would need. Lance says 220 volt 5 kilowatt gas diesel generator. Is that the most watts it will accept from the generator? Will propane generator work too? Where do you hook the generator up to? So you would hook it up to the AC in on your unit, which is where you would plug in your, like, if you were using this port just like on your house, your sub panel, for example, like in what you see behind us, this is, yeah. We've been asking for a bigger studio, and that's why. So what you see behind me is this is your included 50 amp extension cable plugged into a generator port. You would use this same cable to plug from your generator into the Walrus's AC in. You just might need an adapter to make sure that your generator can use that kind of connection port.
You're gonna want he says it says 220 volt 5 kW gas use. That's not the most watts it's gonna take. That's the minimum generator you want to use. If you can get a 10 kW or 15 kW or even a 20 kW generator, it'll do it, but it should be 220 volts so that it reads it properly. But you could definitely use more energy to charge the units. It's just the minimum required to let it run right. It could be propane, doesn't matter. And like Nick said, you just plug it into the AC input. What we did is, you told about the 30 amp extension?
Mm-hmm.
We did a 30 amp extension from the generator to the 50 amp cable that then went into the 50 amp input, which we used.
Okay. And we also need, yes, we definitely need a better app. Definitely. That is,
We didn't build the app, so
yeah, that wasn't, I don't know when the app was built. I think that was before my time. So I don't know who built it or when or where or how. But I agree. My unbiased opinion, app sucks. Lance says, talking about a G4 Plus or G3 Pro. Yeah, the process would be the same for any Walrus. They have the same ports. Ram says, I plan to go with a G4 with solar panels. Should I start with applying for permits first?
that seems
Like the solar permits for your home, you mean?
If you're gonna use the well, I guess it just depends on your state and city. But I was gonna say, if you use the off-grid solar kit with the G3, G4 that we have, technically you wouldn't need some permits. But
Yeah, there are no permits required for the G.
there might
for
be
the
some kind of
batteries.
permitting needed to put the solar panels on the roof, though.
Yeah.
Do you need a permit to just put them in your backyard on the floor?
It depends. In California, you can't do that. Yeah, you can't put solar panels on the ground.
Yeah.
Texas,
Where,
I think
uh,
Arizona, you can.
Ram,
On
what
a little like stand.
Yeah,
what
and-
state are you in? What area are you in? I'll do a little Googling.
And what's your career path? And then tell us your income.
Just let us know what your area is. I'll see
Tell
if I
us
can
how
find
much you
some info.
make.
Career day.
Nick is trying to compare his salary to our user salary, so
I
he's
think
either
that
gonna.
I think I lose every time.
You think you lose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
Who said they're making 100K here?
100K dot dot dot.
100K ... seems a little skeptical. It was Michael Stoth. Michael, you still in the chat? Let's verify this 100K here.
Okay, Rams in Texas.
Texas. All right, so Texas, you're gonna get away with a lot more stuff. If you wanna get off-grid solar, you could buy the G4 Plus with the PV solar kit that we have. Perhaps you might need to get some permits to install them on your roof, but from what I know, Texas isn't as strict. You could lay out the panels out on the lawn if you wanted to. And because you're not wiring the unit directly to the main electrical panel, you're using this sub port here. You don't technically need permits.
Yeah, and also due to the fact that it's on wheels.
You might want to
fact
get
that you don't have to
some
mount
minor
it.
electrical permits to install this piece, but there's a good chance you don't have to, depending on your electrician. But I would still just check with your electrician and your local laws and regulations. But you're just installing a port, a breaker, and a port. We should have like a version of this, but like with it exposed.
Mhm.
But yes, like all you really have is just this port, and then you're just plugging and playing after that. So there's no like hard wiring of battery packs going into your main electrical panel, meaning you don't technically need some permits. You might need a permit for the sub panel, maybe. Again, depends on your local state and city.
I'll look that up real quick. I want to make sure I get Prominence's and Lance's comments.
Is there
in here.
G4 Plus LiFePo instead of EV lithium CM batteries? No, there's no G4 LiFePo. If you want,
There is a wall.
well, I was going to
Pacific,
say
right?
the Pacific. Yeah, if you want LiFePo 4, you can get the Walrus Pacific. It's a much bigger battery pack because LFP is not as energy dense, so you have to get a much bigger battery pack to get the same amount of capacity. But if you want LFP, Walrus Pacific can do it.
Yeah, or you could pair a system like the Rhino
Magic
with
Fry
one of our
says, do you need
inverters.
permits for G3 Pros and wall mounted? Probably not, because the battery pack is still on wheels.
Yeah.
The wall mounting is just like they're just like shelf brackets.
It's literally like it's a metal L bracket that you set the inverter on.
And you just sit it on top.
The reason why you would need permitting for some other batteries is because the batteries themselves have to be like permanently mounted to the wall. But that's never been the case with the Walrus, and even with the Walrus G3 Pro, you're just mounting the inverter onto a shelf. You're just placing it onto there, basically. The batteries are still on wheels and movable, and thus you would not need a permit. Prominence says, if my G4 can take 8 kilowatt of solar in, can I do a 10 kilowatt solar array without hurting anything, just have a little clipping on sunny days?
Where are you reading that?
Like 4 or 5 comments up, Prominence perspective.
Oh, if my G4 can take 8K solar in, can I do a 10K solar array without hurting? Not recommended. Well, no, actually, G4 Plus.
Magic Fries says, is it heavy? Yeah, the inverters we generally recommend to have 2 people to lift. Now, Prominence Perspective sent his video of him installing his to us last week. We watched on stream, and he's a beast. He lifted his inverter right out of the box just himself, no problem. Doesn't look like he even broke a sweat. But whenever I'm filming with them or doing like our instructional videos, etc., I always lift it with 2 people. It's, what would you say, inverter's like over a couple 100 pounds, 200 pounds?
I don't know exactly how much it weighs.
Yeah, I
but
don't know the exact
heavy.
pound, but
It's not
heavy.
200 pounds, is it?
It's heavy.
Because this dude just took it out of the box.
Yeah, it's heavy though. It's heavy.
Yeah.
It takes me into Sardar.
Now that's a manpower.
You need any job done, you call me in Sardar. It's getting done yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's heavy. Generally, inverter, 2 people to lift. The battery's a little easier because it's on wheels. You can roll it around. Lance says, there's no electrical provider in my zip code. How would you recommend shopping for an electrician that will know how to install all the hookups to your house for the G3 Pro or G4 Plus?
The hookups from the G3, G4 are plug and play, like how you see in this image. It's just you just plug them into the port. What you want the electrician to do is to wire up the port to your sub panel. So what you want the electrician for is for the sub panel install and to wire up these ports. From that point on, you just plug in the unit. There's nothing specific about that piece. It's plug and play. But you do need someone to help you do the breakers and the wiring for the port and the sub panel, which any electrician should be able to do. Some of the DIYers can do this pretty easily too, if you're kind of like a handyman kind of guy.
Yeah, it's a very simple hookup, but it's plug and play. So like once your sub panel and generator port are installed, all you got to do is just plug in one end of the wire to your walrus and the other end into your generator port, and you are good to go. So it's unfortunate there's none on our website for that, but what you'd want to do is just find an electrician in your area and just tell them that you need a sub panel and generator port installed for a solar battery. Once they have that installed for you, the rest is
my charger for my desk.
the rest is in your hands. Prominence, just tell us next time me or Brian will drive out personally and help you lift it out of the box.
John Hawks is asking if you can remove the batteries from the water specific. No, you cannot. It is one big ass battery.
Yeah, you can't dismantle the Walrus Pacific. If you're
It's
looking for it to get through a tight squeeze, you're going to want to go with one of the other ones, like the
Yeah.
G3, G4.
If you guys
And
want,
actually,
well, I was gonna say, if you guys want that much battery capacity and are looking to spend that much money, you guys should opt into the G3 Pro. It's much smaller in physical size, but you're gonna get the same amount of kilowatt hour capacity, G3 Pro with 3 batteries, and you're gonna get a way stronger inverter.
and you can continue to expand it if you need to in the future with additional G3 expansion batteries. I want to say this because it came up earlier and it's relevant to this conversation. So Lance was asking if we have the Walrus G4 without the EV CM batteries. And here's the reason why we don't. And it's also the reason why electric vehicle manufacturers use NMC batteries. It's because you can get a much higher energy density in per cell. So that means in a smaller package, you're fitting in way more energy with NMC versus LifePo. So like the Walrus Pacific Pro, for example, that's our 62-ish kilowatt hour lithium battery. It's huge. I don't think I could, it's very, very big. It's at least 3 times bigger than a Walrus G3, maybe more. With the G3 Pro, for example, you're hitting up to 44 kilowatt hours, but it's such a smaller package. That's why a lot of electric vehicle manufacturers prefer NMC for their manufacturing. That's one of the reasons why we use them in the Walrus, so that we can pack a lot of power into a small, convenient unit. The Walrus units are really quite compact for the amount of power they have. They don't take up too much space, and that's the difference you see. The Walrus Pacific, you can't move it through your.
We had the chat
doorway.
on fire when we were making them talk about their career paths.
Hey guys, if you want to keep talking about careers, we can do that.
I want to know what everybody's career paths are. Maybe we just got to switch up. Nick wants a new job. He will go work for you or for your company. No questions asked.
No questions asked. Dude, I got an audition on Friday for an on-camera thing.
Audition?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good luck.
Well, I was called back. To go
Okay.
to a second audition. I sent them a tape, and then they want me to go in person to audition.
You sent them your sponsor me tape?
Yep. It's, I haven't really done too much like acting on camera stuff.
Yeah.
But I figured I got experience with all the
YouTube
ads
Live?
I'm in and the YouTube Live and stuff. I might as well. And they hit me back up.
That's cool.
It'd just be a side thing. But I'd be in ads for I won't say the name of the company, but it's a protein snack. So it's like one of those snacks that it's like high, basically that kind of thing, like the high protein snacks.
Can I guess it?
Sure.
Protein snacks?
Yeah.
Not drink, food?
It's food.
Beef jerky?
No.
It's like candy bar type protein bar?
It's like
protein bar?
it's in that vein. It's like snacks with
Quest.
protein added.
Quest.
It's that kind of vibe. Yeah. It's
But
not
it's not company?
Quest. It's not Quest.
What's that?
Sounds like Feastables, but it's not. Prominent says, can Nick lift the Pacific by himself?
Nope. Seen him try.
Maybe when I'm off those Reaper cheese balls, I can. Gosh, I'm a bench press the Pacific real quick. Let's do it.
It's 1,000 pounds.
Who in the chat can bench press 1,000 pounds?
One time, when I had a caller on Saturday call me, he told me he could deadlift 500 pounds. So because of that, only because of that, I gave him an extra discount. No one was around to tell me I couldn't do it.
Lance says, will the G3 Pro or G4 Plus automatically supply power through the sub panel to the house if electricity goes out? Yes, it's automatic. We've actually demonstrated it in videos before where when the main panel cuts out due to a power outage, you don't even, at most you see like a millisecond flicker of your lights. In the demonstration we did, we had a television running and the TV didn't even turn off. So like,
it's pretty fast.
You can be playing PS5, you can be playing that sweet Elden Ring Night Rain, and your expedition won't get interrupted, unless of course your Wi-Fi goes out. Then it will get interrupted, but that has nothing to do with your Walrus. Who out here's been playing Elden Ring Night Rain? I can't be the only one.
The higher ups are limiting my ability to hook people up, but I need to hit a quota for today.
All right, let's hit that
so
quota.
Should we just like bypass
let's
the
go
rules?
Rogue. Let's go rogue.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's go rogue.
And just give somebody an extra discount that they can stack?
Dude, I don't care.
Alright, if anybody just text in real quick, there's a discount code that we're offering. It gives you a little bit more than what's already been discounted off the price. I've been offering this code. Some of y'all might feel it's not enough. So maybe for the next texter, but it has to be someone who's interested in buying the battery pack today. It can't be like someone who's going to buy it next week. If you're looking to buy today and you text it, I'll give you 2 codes that you can stack on top of each other and you'll get max discount, but it'll only be for the next people who text. I was told not to give more discount.
I got 2 codes, one for the plug and one for the hose.
Jeez.
Brian has been so disappointed in me lately. Like when we were talking about pimping for 25 minutes on the last live stream.
So if anybody texts in right now, it's already 4:03. Nick's gonna get grumpy soon and turn off the YouTube live. He wants to go practice for his so-called audition.
It's actually like, it should be easy. It actually, part of what they're auditioning me for involves live streaming. So I'm practicing right now. Yeah.
You told them all the amount of hours you have live streaming?
I did. And I tell them like not to shatter any illusion for you guys, But I told them how much like some of the revenue we get on live stream is too, and they were like, "All right, let's get this guy in here."
Let's get this guy in here. Then they're gonna go to the live and realize you have a co-host. So all of that is only half the revenue you brought in, half of the effort.
Well, that's the thing. You just come with me to the audition. It's
And
like
it's gonna be like
yeah,
right there.
Brian's part of the deal. He's part of the package deal. You get me, you get Brian.
I'm like, it usually works when someone asks a question in the chat.
Yeah, it's like, don't you realize that all I do is just repeat the questions and make Brian answer?
Yeah, you just read it out loud and you're like, what do you think? And I'm like, middle of texting someone. What
Prominence
battery
says-
system would you recommend for 32 kWh per day average according to electric bill for hottest month and total of 8.5 kWh inverter of essentials such as AC, fridge? I would still at this point recommend the G4 Plus. It's going to give you a strong, you could technically get away with the G3, but G4 Plus is going to give you a strong enough inverter at most of that kilowatt hour per day. But my new favorite unit is the G3 Pro. G3 Pro will give you a big enough buffer. So you'll have 44 kilowatt hour and 22 kVA inverter. So you'll be more than enough. Lance has asked about like the most amount of questions, but he's not getting one of those little fan like not like the badges. So how do the badges
Lance,
thing work?
come on, you've earned your badge. I mean, it's not your fault. It's YouTube's fault.
Lance,
but,
did you tell us where you live? Like what state he lives in?
Was he Texas?
He's also into he says photography in his. Does he know the? Are you familiar with Atlas Lens Co., the anamorphic cinematic lenses? Say yes or say no. We will inform you on that next.
That was so like I don't even know how to describe that.
Oh my
Next
goodness.
to anyone's badge, you'll see a whole list of us.
Whoa! Tiny baby. Who's that? So I had a big reaction because for a second I thought he was calling you Tiny Baby, but I think he's talking
Tiny
about
Baby.
somebody else.
From the solar lab, should have
Because
lift
it
off.
says
of
Nick and
solar
Tiny
gener-
Baby should have a lift off. I thought he was calling Brian Tiny
Wait,
Baby.
is Lance? who was the user that was our web dev?
Michael?
No. New web dev.
Oh, I don't remember. But I don't think he's Lance. I think that would be
I'm
elaborate.
at the bottom tip of Texas, only 8 miles from Mexico in McAllen.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, if I remember correctly, you said you don't know the size of your AC. The only factor that I would consider between G3 Pro and G4 Plus would be the size of that AC. But based on everything I'm seeing here, I agree with Brian that the G4 Plus is probably the pick for you.
Professional wildlife photographer that shoots photos for
Oh, that's very
field
cool.
and stream.
Jealous. That sounds really nice.
Fire. If you're in a situation, you know when you watch those like Discovery channels, if you're doing a wildlife shoot and an animal's about to get eaten, are you allowed to step in or you gotta let it take its course?
You're there. I actually saw a whole. So BBC just released like this whole behind the scenes like episode of the filming of like Planet Earth, and they were talking about how they almost never. They have a rule, they do not get involved, and they say that can be very difficult for the crew sometimes. And they showed this thing, they were in the Arctic, and a whole like I guess pack, I don't know what the actual word is, flock of penguins, emperor penguins, like about 30 to 50 of them fell into a hole, like a crevice, and got stuck.
And they have to leave them
couldn't
there?
get out. And so the crew was watching them for days, like slowly starve to death. Like the babies were dying, like
I
it's
feel like in
awful.
that situation
And-
they could have let him out,
Yeah,
right?
eventually they did. Like I think 2 or 3 days into it, they said, you know what, we're breaking our oath here. We're gonna go dig them out. And so they didn't go like pull them out by hand, but they went with shovels and like dug a path that they could climb up. So then they were able to get out.
Damn.
It's very heartwarming. I got the
I feel like
fuzzies.
that's that valid.
I got the fuzzies when I saw those penguins get out. Little baby survived. Gonna be an adult penguin one day. I love animals. Okay.
We need a penguin that
AC and heat, 3370 watts, 230 volt, 23.5 amp minimum, 3.37 kilowatt. I think it's a 2.5. Oh, if you got 2.5 ton unit, you are totally good with that Walrus G4. I think G4 Plus is the move for you. Evangeli says G4 Plus is future-proof. Hell yeah, it is. Yeah, Lance, text us in, 747-282-0538 if you haven't already. Like I said, Brian's going to get that text right here, and he'll offer you the
That's
custom
so
discount.
Sad.
If you are trying to get that G4. I think that's probably your move. Greg says, can you charge with generator and solar simultaneously? Yes, you can. You can combine different charging methods simultaneously. And solar and generator are both good to go. Lance says you got to get the shot or video and not stop something dying. You actually want nature to take its course, and you're just there like a fly on the wall to document it. Yeah, that makes sense. Lance, I do. I've directed several documentaries, and some of which I've had to experience that a little bit, but with like the human side of things. There was I was filming. I won't get into all the specifics because let's not talk politics on a battery stream. But like I was for one of the documentaries I directed, we were filming active protests on Native American reservation grounds, and there was a few times where we had to make the decision to shut down filming because like one of the people that we had been working with got hit in the face with like a sandbag.
Oh.
So like
That's still
all
that's
messed up in the face.
Sandbags
And,
are not light.
No,
Oh.
dude, you should see him. It brutal. But like we had to be like, all right, well, at what point do we stop being the filmmakers who are documenting this and just be a person who needs to like get ice on this
Never.
guy's face?
Yeah, that's true.
You
That's
know.
true, yeah.
Prominence says, how can I increase my solar energy at night? Stand on your roof with a flashlight and point it at your
yeah.
solar panels.
You kind of can't, dude. You can't increase solar energy when there's no sun. That's what the battery pack is for, right? The idea is that you're supposed to store the solar energy during the day and then use up the battery pack's power at night. How can I increase G3 Pro? Can it run a 20? G3 Pro is going to be able to run just about anything, John. It's the strongest inverter we have.
Yep, you'll be good.
24K mini split. Is that real 24K or is that 2.4K? 24K for a mini split seems like a lot.
Brian's calling BS on that 24K mini split.
That'd be a very
You got some explaining to do,
extremely
John.
powerful mini split. The mini splits in my home are no longer working. I had to ask Fred for some troubleshooting advice.
Damn, I mean, I guess you really do have the the connects here. Like, as you've been like getting into the new place, and
Yeah.
if you run into electrical issues, I mean,
I had
got all the
Alberino go to my
Oh,
house.
hell yeah!
I was trying to do some drywall thing, and I had to take out a beam, and I had him come and look at it. And he just did that, like it's gonna be a big one. I was just like, dude, come on, just tell me what it is.
Alberino's the goat.
Looks like 80 to 100 a day. We have a lot of outages. I want to prevent that while generating as much of my own energy as possible.
I will never forget watching that conversation between him and Walson about building the bridge in the ranch.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Just the dreams and fantasies of Walson clashing with the like actual applicable knowledge of how a bridge gets built that
Yeah.
Alberino had, and those like just not lining up was
Yeah,
was
he
really
wanted it done in a
entertaining.
day.
Yeah. And Alberino's like he's trying to be so nice and like work with him too, but it's like there's stuff you just can't do in a day. Rome didn't get built in a day, and neither does Walson's bridge.
It did fall in a day. No, it took a while for it to fall, right? What was the fall of Rome? Why did they fall again? They expanded too far and they couldn't keep control of the...
Something like that. Dude, I don't know. You know that meme where it's like, ask a man when the last time he thought about the Roman Empire is?
Yeah.
And like so many men just say it's literally every day.
That's not you?
I don't think so. When was the last time, other than obviously just now, when was the last time you thought about
I'm
the
not
Roman
going to lie to
Empire?
you. It's probably more frequent than you think.
Like every day?
Probably not every day, but probably once a week. And then there's some weeks where it's multiple times.
Okay,
If it's not the Roman Empire, it's definitely some kind of...
I do think about like
Historical event.
Yeah, I think about historic like humanity's progress historically in like different places we've been at. I think about that probably every day, but I don't know if I go to the Roman Empire every day. When will this live stream be available on YouTube to view again? Thank you guys so much for answering my questions. Who can I ask more full questions to? Can I email them directly? You can just, that number at the bottom of the screen, if you text that you'll get Brian, and you can conversate with him all day long via text.
All day.
All night long, too.
That's true. I do be texting people at 10 p.m.
This guy works all day, all night. Workaholic over here. But yeah, the YouTube viewable video version of this, it will be up as soon as the live stream ends. So when we end it, you'll be able to rewatch it. And as you can see, chat's on the side, so all of the interactions and questions we've had will be documented for you to go through. Can you put a page on the app to order more batteries? That is such a good idea that I'm angry that we don't already have that, because that's like a perfect way to tee people up to get what they need. Can you include BatteryEVO stickers in each order? Yeah, totally. We got BatteryEVO stickers around here.
We could say yes, but the fulfillment team might not put them in there.
I've seen that happen before. Remember when we used to put Leafio stickers in the order? Oh man, Leafio. If you guys don't know who Leafio is, and I hope you don't, he's a little monster. Lance Kruger says, how long would the battery on a G4 Plus last if your daily use is 32 kilowatt hours? So the G4 Plus battery,
Sorry.
Nadine is hyped about that G4 Plus daily use at 32 kilowatt hours. Also, that reminds me, Nadine, I gotta ask, when was the last time you thought about the Roman Empire?
When it was trending on TikTok.
Oh man, so it's been a while. Yeah. Okay, so you guys are actively proving that the meme is true, because Brian said that he thinks about it at least once a week, and Nadine hasn't thought about it since the whole thing about how much men think about it was trending.
24 BTU is a 2-ton AC. Oh, okay, so maybe that's why it's that much.
Lance says,
it should be able to run it though.
Lance says, thank you both so much. Awesome, helpful. Thank you. I appreciate it. And thanks for coming in and joining us. When we don't have people like you in here asking questions, it gets real quiet. So thank you.
Sirdar, do you know what the Roman Empire is?
Ramon's Empire.
Like the Roman...
Oh, you mean the
Roman Empire.
Kratos.
Alexander the Great?
what was his name?
Okay.
Alexander the Great.
Real quick, Lance, I got to get back to your question.
Oh,
The Walrus G4 Plus it's 23 kilowatt hours. So you might look at that and be like, oh, that's a little under what I need. But one thing to keep in mind is that if you have it hooked up with solar, your battery will be receiving solar input throughout the day as well at the same time it's discharging into your home. So in theory, with the right amount of solar panels, you could run that 32 kilowatt hours off grid without depleting your full battery. You just want to have it repleting itself with your solar at the same time. If not, then I'm trying to think how long those 23 kilowatt hours would last you full use on a house if you're not replenishing with solar at the same time.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
So if his daily use is 32 kilowatt hours and the Walrus G4 Plus is 23 kilowatt hours, how long could he run that full use before it depletes? And let's just not, I told him about the backfeeding like with solar, how if you have solar running it kind of like helps mitigate that. But let's just pretend that's not happening. Let's just say just pure battery discharge.
The battery on a G4 Plus lasts a day. So you're going to get most of the day because you got 23 kilowatt hour. You have 32 kilowatt hours daily. So you will effectively, if you use up your entire home, you'll drain out the battery pack if you're using it 100% of the time. So
But
technically,
also-
it'll last you, like, let's say, out of the 24 hours, maybe like 16 of them.
But also keep in mind you have nights free because you're in Texas. So you shouldn't really be able to.
So you're not going to be
get
using
fully
it all
off
day.
grid. You should, like if you're using that time of use and charging up with the
Yeah.
free hours, charge your battery with those free hours in the middle of the night, and you can go off grid.
The idea with the battery packs is to create a buffer, right? Like when you don't need to be using, like, your home's appliances are not on all of the time. Like, when you leave your house, there's nothing on at home besides your fridge. So you're only using very little energy. Now, if you come home and you start turning on all the ACs and everything, you're going to create a surge in power. If you have nights free plans in Texas, then, you know, allow the nights free plan to charge your battery pack and to power your appliances. And then in the daytime, when it's the few hours of daytime when you don't have nights free plan, that's when you want to use the battery pack. So the idea isn't to try to use 100% of the battery pack's power. It's to offload the big appliances that are making you pay a lot in utilities. So you don't necessarily have to put the whole home on the sub panel. You can just put like the AC and then maybe the kitchen onto this. And then all the lights don't really take up too much power anyway. So you just offload the large appliances, effectively basically reducing the amount of power that's on the grid. If you want a battery pack to create a large enough buffer, if you're doing 32 kWh, you're going to want something like the Pacific, which is 62 kWh, which will give you a big enough buffer where if you had no power, you can run for 2 days total. And if you're using it daily, you'll only use 50% of the battery pack and you'll recharge. So that's a couple ways to create a buffer with a battery pack. You shouldn't try to aim to use 100% of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with like your phone. You don't want to charge it all the way down to 0 every day. It's not good. Prominent says 24 BTU is a 2-ton AC. John Hawk says G3 Pro run 2-ton. Okay, so yeah, the G3 Pro would run a 2-ton AC, no problem. It could handle up to 5-ton AC. Lance says, thanks to Nadine for me being here. Shout out Nadine, she's a goat. Lance says, not planning to use this with solar, but use an inverter generator to charge up 1 or 2 times per day during daylight. Needing this for electricity outages during hurricanes since I'm an hour west of the Gulf. Oh yeah, I understand how that is, Lance. I grew up in Southwest Florida, so I also grew up on the Gulf, right on the Gulf actually, and many hurricanes in my day. Many days of power outages in my day, you know, before I moved out here to California. Now it's just earthquakes and fires. But yeah, that plan sounds good. I would say if that's the case, like, you'd charge up once or twice per day during daylight. Yeah, no, that plan will work well. I'd say if you're running everything in your house, like, during an outage, like, that's not maybe the most efficient plan during an outage. I would
not use my central AC.
Yeah, we typically recommend to just go with the essentials off your Walrus during an outage, because in theory, if you just do like some lights, maybe like a cooling, like air fan to keep yourself cool, and just like your fridge or freezer to keep your food from going bad, and just like maybe something to keep yourself entertained, just hunker down with like the bare minimum for as long as you can. You could be running off that Walrus for days before you need to recharge it. Prominent says, I was born near Coral Springs, Florida. Oh yeah, so we're neighbors. I was born in Naples, Florida. Getting down south there,
your roots
near the Everglades. I'm in like the Cape Coral, Fort Myers area. 2 hours south of like Tampa, Orlando. 3 hours west of Miami.
Who do you think Nah, we shouldn't go back to the income thing, huh?
You're obsessed.
I'm sorry, I want to know. I was going to ask, like,
who's the biggest baller in the
chat?
chat?
Like, who's the richest guy in the chat?
I
got my money on John Hawks. That's a good name. That's a good name to get rich.
John Hawks has, like...
He's got a name to get rich.
John Hawks has a good name for somebody who's wealthy. John also has, like, that kind of nonchalant, direct energy with the way he's...
You know, the way he just wrote 24 BTU mini split tells me everything I need to know about his income.
Hey, you know...
You are speechless with how rich John is.
I was like, what can I say here? I don't want to get, like... It's weird to be talking about viewers' income on stream.
There's those guys who go live on TikTok and they say, "Tell me your income," or like, "Tell me," like, it's okay, right?
Hey, tell me your income.
It's life advice. You know, if you want to be a baller like Nick, I mean, this is a great place to start.
Yeah, if you want to be a baller like me,
if you want to make that creative director salary,
or as Jungle Law says that I'm a gangster. How many of you guys out there would describe me as gangster?
Wait, so Sardar, you didn't answer me. Do you know about the Roman Empire? You know what this is?
Yeah.
Okay, how often do you think about it? How often do you think about the Roman Empire, about its grand rise and its immediate and its desperate fall? How often?
Well, every time I saw something about it.
Like a documentary?
Yeah.
But like when you're working or something, you don't just think about it randomly?
Why I'm thinking about that?
I'm just asking. Like, do you?
Sometimes I think about like some of the advanced stuff they had for the time. Like they had advanced irrigation. Why do I care about that? I don't know. I
Did they have
shouldn't. I don't
advanced
even-
irrigation?
Yeah, I don't even care about our current irrigation though, so I don't know what, whatever. Okay, Len says I'm asking these questions for a system for my mom who's 83 years old. She has to have AC cooling, so it's imperative to have the AC going. She suffered through the last hurricane for a week.
Oh.
Ooh, that sucks. Well, shout out to your mom. That's really, really sweet of you to be getting her needs taken care of for her like this. In that case, what do you think? How long, if he was running his mom's AC on a Walrus?
He says he must be using AC?
Yeah, it's for her like safety.
Okay, and
comfort.
then this is the one that has the big AC, right?
Let's scroll up on his
Well,
comments.
yeah, let's go back to the comments because now I gotta remember. Sorry about that, Lance.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
Okay, AC and heat, 3370 watts, 230 volt. It's a 2.5 ton unit. Heat
2.5 ton? Oh, then it's not too bad. Okay, Lance. So for sure, you still want to use the soft starter. You want to use the soft starter so that you don't create any critical loads. The G3 can do a 2.5 ton with soft starter. G4 can do it. G3 Pro can do it. If you really want to make sure you can run the AC and it's going to last your mom a long time, G3 Pro is the best way to go. And it's not just to try to upsell a battery pack, but if it's a situation where they're going to have hurricanes and you still need to use the AC, remember that during the power outages, you're not going to be able to recharge the unit. So you're going to need an inverter strong enough to kickstart the AC. Again, G3 can do it, G4 Plus can do it, but G3 Pro will have more than enough inverter power to run at an efficient rate, so you're not overloading the battery pack. Then you have 2 battery packs on the G3 Pro. Perhaps consider upgrading to the third one, which will give you 66 kilowatt hours worth of battery capacity. So while you're running the AC, you can still potentially get about 3 to 4 to 5 days worth of power if there's nothing to charge it. Now, it's still super, super important to try to not run everything at max. I know you probably want the AC running for her, but perhaps try to run it at like auto. You don't want to be changing the temperature too often. You just don't want to create too much critical loads. I always try to say compare it to like your car, right? If you're driving on the highway and you're flooring it on the gas, you're gonna run out of gas faster. But if you're running at a small conservative rate, your gas is gonna last longer.
Wait, is that true? Isn't highway miles per gallon? No, it is better.
But if you floor it, like if you're flooring your gas the whole way on the highway, you're gonna run out of gas faster. But if
Can't
you're just
argue with
running
that.
less,
Can't argue with that.
you know.
But
So you could potentially, to last for a week, you're gonna need battery capacity. You need a lot of battery capacity to get you through the week.
yeah, he did say he'd be like recharging it once or twice a day with a inverter generator. He says, so using a generator like a gas generator adapted in to make sure he keeps charged. That would be helpful. Like I said, we've demonstrated that in our videos. You can totally do that. Definitely a good way to make sure you have a way to keep recharging it. I think very solid thing to do. But if you want to eliminate having to do that so often, the more capacity you have on your battery, the longer you will last running everything. I would say because you want to go with the AC on the whole time in an event of an outage like this, more capacity is better. Just because AC is one of the highest, if not the highest, power draw in most homes. The only other things that compete with that really are like pool heaters and like EV chargers.
G4 Plus up daily, 1x per day with inverter, tri-fuel generator. You can do it as long as you have something to charge the battery pack. You can do it, Lance. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it will. How long do you think it would take to recharge? Like,
G4
let's say
well,
he
it
gets
depends on how
down.
much
Let's say he
power
gets
it's
down to
bringing.
like 40% before he recharges.
G4 Plus 1x. It depends on how much energy that thing can draw.
Yeah.
Right? If it's a 5 kW inverter, then 5 divided by whatever kilowatt hour you need. Remember, you could also run, if you have a generator hooked up to your Walrus, you can let the generator run on idle and it'll save the fuel inside the generator, and it'll trickle charge the Walrus. So that's also an advantage.
Using a gas generator
There
to
you
power
go,
the
Prominence
Walrus
answered
is
for
a
us.
very it's a very efficient way to use gas. You'll get more energy.
Did
out
Lance
of
say
that
why they
gas
didn't
that
want to
way.
use solar?
No, I think he's not really getting it for that purpose. For her, it's more about just having a storage for emergencies.
Got it.
Prominence said my G4 lasts almost a day with my 2-ton AC system. I ordered more solar and a second battery to get the full day off grid. There you go, dude. I love it when you guys are able to answer each other's questions like that. It's super helpful.
It really helps.
And by the way, guys, a lot of great folks in the stream today. If you guys have been listening for a while, please drop a like on the screen or on the stream. Hit that little thumbs up there on your screen. It shows YouTube that we are doing a good job within the solar energy niche, and it'll help us connect with more people like you on the next one. It's an algorithmic thing. YouTube says that likes equals we are legit. So if you could like this stream, it helps us out a lot. If you really like what we're doing and you want to be kind of plugged in to us all the time, feel free to subscribe, hit that notification bell.
Hit
But
share.
just a like, a share, all that
Hit
stuff
share,
goes a long
tell us
way.
your career, tell us how much you make annually. Nick will go work for you or for your company. No questions asked. That's what he did here. He didn't ask a single question.
You guys could get so lucky. You have no idea. I'm gonna show up wearing this beanie and just change your company for the better.
Oh, I see. She's got like a community thing going on. Okay. Okay. This makes sense. I was
see.
wondering if he was like living in a home, it would just still be more beneficial to use the solar panels, but I get it now.
Joshua says, can we add battery percentage to the time of use settings so it only charges when the battery is... I think you can. It's not in the time of use settings, but I'm pretty sure you can set it to begin charging to stop discharging and begin charging at a certain percentage. I think that's already a feature in there. I am almost certain, actually. It's just not in the time of use part of the menu. I think it's in one of the other menu settings. My mom doesn't want it for that. Don't know if it's a rule in her community. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, if she is able to, if she's allowed to get solar down the line, maybe consider doing that. Just because it's a good way to make the most out of your solar battery. Of course, is to have the panels. But what you're trying to accomplish, you will be able to accomplish with the Walrus. It's just maybe in the future, see if that's an option, just because then you could save money all year long. Have to go to a meeting. We'll have to watch later for a response. All right, good luck in your meeting, Josh. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate that. Yeah, Prominence says it's in the battery settings. Dude, Prominence is a goat. Prominence is a goat for so many reasons. Prominence sent us that mail, sent us the video to react to, basically modding the chat at this point. Can we can we designate, I think we can, designate certain viewers to be mods on the chat?
I think you can, yeah, you had to right click them.
We should do that at some point. Prominence, you want to be a mod? Let's see, can I do that? Yeah, I can add him as moderator. I don't know what that fully, what permissions that gives you specifically, but yeah, I think that would give you the ability to kick people and you'd have highlight on your comment. I'm down to make you mod though, Prominence, if you wanna mod for us, that'd be fire.
Joshua's got a meeting.
Now I think Joshua makes the most money.
Yeah, that's true. You got a meeting at 4:32 p.m. That's crazy.
Well, we don't know where Joshua is, the time zone. If it's in the East Coast, Joshua's got a meeting at 7:30.
You're right. Joshua Shipper might just be the richest person in the chat. Potentially.
He's
right after John Hawks.
I don't know, something tells me that Fallen Solar King rakes it in.
You think Fallen Solar King rakes it in?
I think Fallen Solar King is loaded.
We gotta find out, because if he is, he's gotta pay for the cheesecake dinner.
Oh.
Has Fallen Solar King joined today?
Yeah, I saw him in here.
Let me go back. Oh yeah, he was in here at the beginning. Yeah. Prominence, please explain.
Topo Chico alert.
I remember right there. Yeah. Look, Fallen Solar King lost his number 2 badge. I still don't understand how the badges work.
I don't really know how it works either.
I see that Fallen Solar King is now number 4 on the Horseman of the Apocalypse list.
Okay.
Lance has
Oh, I got the number 1 spot.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. The menu you have to do password 505 to get into. The menu you have to do password. Oh, okay, got it. That is the password, right? To get into the display.
In that case,
The every unit I've used, the default password is 101. Like all the units they give me to work with, for like the videos and stuff, the default password is 101 to go into the settings.
101.
Yeah.
Lance, you can use a bigger generator. You
Yeah,
can.
of course.
The
Of course you
5kW is just minimum compliance, so you can make it work. You can use a bigger. It's actually recommended to use a bigger generator
Yeah.
because you have such a big battery pack.
Bigger is better.
Let me know if you guys want to get a battery pack. I'm trying to stack some codes. We'll probably get in trouble for it, but we're trying to hit. Me and Nick are trying to hit a goal. So we'll get in trouble just to try to help somebody out. So text.
Brian and I are very goal-oriented people. If you're a goal-oriented person and you have the goal of lowering that power bill, text us. Our goals have aligned.
If you had to track all the goals you've ever had and the amount of times that you've either accomplished them or didn't accomplish them, what do you think your hit rate is? Like your 5 out of 10, 10 out of 10?
I don't want to brag,
Every single time?
but I think I'd have a higher than average success rate.
All right, fair.
I got into Cannes Film Festival 3 times.
Okay, that's true. I forget that you are critically acclaimed.
That was a big goal, though. That was a
That was a
lofty
huge goal. That's a
I
huge
really
goal.
wanted to get into that, and I did.
Also, we can just do
Um,
if you want, we can do.
Solar trackers.
10K sustained is the size gen I'd target. Tech Hoarder always coming in with some helpful knowledge. Nick, 101 is just to enter configuration, then 505 to go to battery parameters. Oh, I see. Well, thank you. To have battery recharge based on battery percentage, go into the set battery menu. That's right. That is where you do it. But do I have goals that I haven't accomplished? Absolutely. Many of them. But there's still time. The main gripe I've heard from Minuteman Solar is that the 8K of solar is good, but the volts is the problem. Any plans to upgrade the volt rating to add more solar to not have a ceiling on the volts? So that's where, yeah, Minuteman's great, by the way. Really cool guy. He came out here to film with us a while ago, and it was a blast hosting him, showing him around our facilities and all that stuff. It's a great time. Yeah, that is. I'd say that's like the biggest limitation of the system. He was reviewing the G3 specifically. I believe the Pacific, or sorry, the G3 Pro inverter does have higher MPPT, correct? Or or was it the G4 Plus? One of those has higher MPPT than the G3. They're asking about that.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got lost.
No, you're good. You're texting people
The
back.
main gripe I've heard Minuteman Solar is the 8K solar is good, but the volts is the problem. Any plans to upgrade the volts rating? The G3 Pro is basically the solution to that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, to not have a ceiling on the volts. The reason why there's a ceiling on the volts is because the inverters are designed to just basically power like a simple home, right? So sometimes you guys want like these crazy solar installs, but you find you don't really need that much solar most of the time. So the unit, we try to design it to be cost effective as possible. You know, we're not going to be super feature rich like the Tesla Powerwalls or any of the other stuff you see on the internet that's super expensive. We're trying to keep it as cost effective as possible and provide Americans with a very large battery pack at starter prices, right? So that's the key here. So I know you guys want like these crazy systems for $4,000, but I mean Tesla Powerwall, Enphase, and none of those guys sell the battery capacities that we do, and maybe there's units out there with those bigger MPPTs, but as you know, they're expensive, and they're expensive for a reason. But Lance, regardless, I thought you weren't going to use solar on these, so I don't think that it's necessarily a something that you need to be worried about here.
But if
because
that
you're
is a
using
concern, G3 Pro is significantly
Yeah.
improved.
Okay.
The review that Minuteman did was for G3, which does have the more limited MPPT.
Yeah, Tech Quarter is saying the same thing, that they would love to see MPPT take higher voltage strings. The G3 Pro can do it. It has 2 PVs, but goes back to the thing where it's like, let's say you have an 8 kilowatt solar system, or even if you have the, what is it, the 4K, 4.4? It only take you 5 hours to fully charge a battery pack from 0 to 100, a G3, G4. So the idea that you need a, 15 kilowatt solar system is not necessarily true. And even if you say you needed it for your home, at no given point is your home using more than about 2,000 to 3,000 watts worth of power, unless maybe you're charging an electric vehicle. But your home is not using over 5 kilowatts worth of energy at any given moment. So I guess my question to you guys would be, for example, like Tech Quarter, like what do you need? Yeah, G3 Pro input is capped at 230 volts as well. It is capped at 230 volt, but you got 2 of them. You got 2 PV inputs. Yeah, you got 2 PV inputs. You can run 2 different arrays into each PV input. But I guess maybe Tech Quarter would know since he's asking about it. Like, what is the actual reason why you would need more than 230 volts? And I'm actually just curious to find out, because a lot of guys want more MPPT. But my question is, like, what would be the reason why you would need such a high MPPT voltage?
Yeah. Just make sure you edit this. So.
Okay.
That's fine.
Thank you, amigo.
You gotta go.
Reduce cable costs. Having to run higher amps off your strings to meet the cap on the MPPT. Higher voltage allows longer series strings before you need to parallel. That's true, but then you go back into the questions like, do you need that many more panels? The wattage cap on the MPPT is also based on I think it's based on the voltage of the battery system with the inverter. That's how you get the wattage cap. So I guess the question still remains, like, do you need that much solar that it's required for you to have such a much larger MPPT? And it's, again, like an actual question. I'm very curious to find out, like, what you guys are powering that you guys need more than 6 kW or 8 kW worth of solar. So you got 100 kilowatts of daily usage. That's a lot. What are you powering, Tech Quarter? What appliances do you have in your home? They're using 100 kilowatt hour a day. Have you also seen the Komodo battery pack? That has a 96 kilowatt hour, 94 kilowatt hour battery pack that could potentially get you enough of a buffer. Walrus G3 will cover 1 room of my house. What do you have, Tech Quarter? What's in your home that you have so much energy? What are you powering? Do you have a huge home? Because if you're saying the G3 will only cover 1 room, what does that room have inside that's using up so much power? I can't imagine you have anything more than a couple of TVs and entertainment. Like, the only thing that I could think that you have that's drawing so much power is some electric vehicles, electric stove, electric boiler, laundromat. To recharge my 8 extension batteries, I need more solar panels each day. Got it. To recharge my 8 extension batteries. Do you actually have 8 extension batteries? Um, Yeah, I guess in the situation where you start to get a bunch of extension packs, then you probably would need a lot more solar. But with a bunch of extension packs, you probably won't be using a lot of the energy. Not a huge home, 1,200 square feet, but much AC, many computers, electric, everything. Okay, then how many computers are you running in your home? And why? Is it mining? Are you mining Bitcoin? So it's probably all those computers, so that probably makes sense. If this is the case too, I mean, the G3 Pro has the 2 PV inputs that you can utilize. You could also utilize 2 full all-in-one systems with 2 different solar array systems to try to get the most out of this situation. Some people are upgrading the MPPTs on the G3s and G4s on their own. Now, that could potentially void the warranty, but if you're smart, tech savvy, and know how to work with solar batteries, that could potentially be a solution for you. So it's possible. I'm getting your guys' text messages, so if you guys trying to get a unit, I'm going to try to stack some codes right now to help people out. I have used my dryer, 210 AC, general lights, and my solar was still able to send extra power to my battery. So see, prominence is another good example of how even using up everything, the solar array still had excess energy to push back into the battery pack. No mining, kids, gaming, myself, running some server applications, etc. I'll be moving to Pacific batteries soon, but likely will need a Trio Pro Inverter charge controller, should cover my draw. Got it, Tech. When do you think you'll be able to make a decision on a battery pack? Like whether it's one of ours or maybe something else on the market? What are some of the units you're seeing online that can potentially help you in your situation? Because you're drawing out a lot of power. You're going to need to find something in here to help you out. getting your guys' texts, so I'm trying to answer them and chat at the same time. If anybody's trying to get hooked up, I'm going to be stacking discount codes for like an hour. So if anybody wants to get a battery pack, make sure you text in right now, because they will not let me do this later on. Oh no, this thing fried. Oh no. Oh, there it goes. Cool.
Yes. That was a horrible idea.
Yes.
But you know what it was?
No size.
That's weird.
Has to be 4x4. Still like small as well.
Ooh, they told you that barely right now.
We showed you before.
Why do we? 4 inches by 4 inches?
Yes.
Let's try this.
If anybody's still in the chat, you guys can text in. I'm trying to watch the chat at the same time. Likely spring. Could I connect my G4 to a 100 amp sub panel? Likely spring value. I see the value for our specific battery stacked with 12K PV array. Yeah. Likely spring. Okay, so spring is when you're gonna make a decision. Oh, so it's like a whole year from now. Okay, got it. Demand, sure, but it can't power 100 amps. Is that true, Prominence? It can't power a 100 amp sub panel? I think that the way that it works is that the 100 amp sub panel is the amount of breakers that could fit up to 100 amps, if I'm correct on this. I could be wrong. But you'll still only be technically utilizing the 50 amp input, and you're not running all of that at the same time, is the way I have it understood. Because I know people are using the G3s and G4s on 200 amp sub panels. However, you won't ever feed 230 to 100 amp from the Walrus at one time. There you go. That's true. Can you please help with my question above? Providence is asking everybody's questions. I wish I
We gotta
knew
make
the
him a
answer
mod.
to that, but beyond my knowledge. Which was the question? What did Evangelist? What did you ask, Evangelist? What's the question? You said to help with the question above. I don't know which one it was. Oh wait. I had a situation for 2 days where the SOC was stuck at 90 and battery voltage 95.9 and unit wasn't charging. Fixed. If the battery was at 95.9 volts, that means it was basically at full capacity, right?
98.9?
95.9.
G.
Didn't say.
G4?
I would assume G4, but that's about full. That's about full.
Hold on.
I guess it got stuck between 90 and 95.9.
90.
90 to 95.9. It was stuck in that range.
5.9.
I'm not sure. How much? I'm not sure.
You will charge you stuff on the contract.
You wanna go print it out and like test one? You can see what it looks like to see if like the checkbox is still like big enough, you know. Give it a try. PDF, huh? I'll go over there. It looks fine so far. You want me to just print one on one page or like a couple? One on one.
Okay.
This is kind of cheap.
Emails. Slack. 100 amp panels, rarely consuming 100 amps, and technically my sump panel is rated for 200 amps. I just know not to run my EV charger and dryer at the same time. Brian says, Nick, don't make anyone mod outside of your company, too much liability. Alright, I won't do it. I will not do it. Takes a real man to get offered a mod position and be like, no, it's not safe for you.
That's a mod.
That's a mod mentality, yeah. That's what I'm looking for in a mod.
Little $7.
I don't know how long you're gonna let this go for.
It might be getting around time to wrap it up. Sorry, I've had to run around. We're finalizing this deal with a major YouTuber right now. It's taking up so much of my day. Probably gotta deal with that a little bit after this too. Guys, who are your favorite YouTubers? Could be in tech, could not be in tech. And you don't have to say me and Brian. I know that we are your favorites, but you don't have to say it. Thinking of running multiple G4 Plus together to increase my PV input capacity. Could you go over how these would be wired together to share battery capacity? And also, where did the Arctic form factor go? Please bring back the tall boys. Gotta love the tall boys.
Okay, so for Micah, in the situation you're describing, if you want more battery capacity, you'll get extension packs to go with the G4. You're not going to wire up full all-in-ones together. If you're trying to get more PV input capacity, you have a couple options. You can use the G3 Pro, or you can use a whole different G4 unit, like 2 units, and each of them have their own solar array. But you won't want to wire them together because you basically wouldn't have access to one of the inverters. So if you want more battery capacity, you'll want an extension pack. If you want to take advantage of 2 solar arrays, you can get 2 all-in-ones and wire up 2 of these solar panels with 2 different ports and then have 2 units going into each of them. Or each unit going into each panel. Yeah, that's kind of the way that would work.
Might be about time to wrap this up. Let's see.
It says right here, Nick has a beanie on in the summer and you are working, so make him buy Brian a beer.
I'd buy Brian a beer, but Brian doesn't drink beer.
Brian doesn't drink beer.
Brian don't drink beer no mo. That was not a reference to any specific song. It's just how I feel about it. To run 2 G4s, you'd need separate non-connected subpanels. That's true. Thanks all. I
Right.
want to power all my breakers in a subpanel, but have a load management system that kills specific breakers based on demand and battery usage, some like the smart breakers like Eaton. You can to my other question, but does that not work? It has to be tied to TOU. The other battery settings are for how low the battery can go. Lance says my favorite YouTube for solar generators is the Solar Lab. That's where we'll find Tiny Baby, and that's what you meant by me and Tiny Baby having a liftoff. Also, yep, shout out Minuteman Solar. He's great. I haven't seen the Solar Lab. You know, I'm gonna have to check them out. I'm gonna have to familiarize myself with Tiny Baby. What's your opinion? I haven't seen Tiny Baby. I don't know what we're working with here, but you think I could beat him? Just based on what you're seeing?
Just based on your vague assumption.
I'm 6'5", by the way.
Wait, but what does he want you guys to do?
Lift off.
What does that mean, lift off?
Like power lift.
Oh,
we can-
like a
not
lift
like-
off.
Not like
I was thinking
space.
like rocket
Yeah.
ships.
So they're gonna blast off?
A lift off.
Joshua
Are you still
says,
lifting? Or are you no
Uh,
longer lifting?
I'm yes and no. Mostly doing like aerobic, like push-up stuff at home right now, but I have not hit the bench in like 3 weeks. Joshua says no, he could bench press me. You don't know that I couldn't bench press you? How much you weigh?
So he's not betting on you is what I'm getting at, Joshua Shipper.
So I'm guessing Tiny Baby is big and muscular, and hence has named himself Tiny Baby. I could bench 230. Now, could I give like a full 10 reps? Not sure. But I could bench you. Come out to LA, Joshua. You're getting benched.
Once
We'll look up
again,
Tiny
the
Baby.
chat has taken a turn.
This is not... Okay. This... I typed in Tiny Baby Solar Lab images on Google and just getting actual babies. The Solar Lab, okay. Where's Tiny Baby? I mean, Tiny Baby can't be this skinny guy. I'm out benching this guy any day. Is this guy Tiny Baby? Because if so, he does look kind of like a tiny baby. And I think I got this in the bag. None of these guys. I see a few guys here, and I'm going to be honest. They all look like soy boys.
Maybe it's that guy.
Okay, if that's Tiny Baby, then maybe we got a problem. No. That's photoshopped. That's
Oh.
not his real arm.
It's 5 o'clock. You get to decide when to call it. People in the chat, but it seems like nobody wanted to get the stacked code deal, so I guess that's off the table now. It's up to you, man.
This skinny guy's not out benching me. I'm sorry. Can I challenge him? Do you think he would like?
Mike Eugene Bernal needs a battery system. Mike, I would suggest texting the number on the screen because we're about to close the chat. But a Walrus G3 or G4 can work with your existing solar, and it should be able to power your whole home. But text the number on the screen. Text the number on the screen because we're going to cut this out pretty quick, Mike. But we'll help you get a good deal on anything you need.
Okay. It would be a battle, I think. On most episodes, they have Tiny Baby lifting the solar generator. They're reviewing can be lifted by Tiny Baby. Only problem is that they're Canadians. Okay, yeah, so I'm definitely out benching if this is a Canadian.
Mike wants more power so he can power a swimming pool. If you
Very
get
cool.
if you get the G4 Plus or G3 Pro, you could potentially do it, and then if you get some solar panels, you could do it off grid. So you won't have to worry about raising cost of utilities to power this.
Okay, so it's not this guy. I was about to keep his picture on and personally challenge him. I was gonna make a direct challenge directly to him, but it's not him. Let's find my actual competitor.
What the heck is going on? Chat's going sideways. All right, it's up to you, Nick. I got things
It's
to
up
do.
to me. Yeah, I got things I have to do also. I got sidetracked by this. See what you've done? You've triggered my fragile masculinity. Okay. Back to business. If you have tiny baby dreams tonight, you know who to blame. I don't know if I should blame you or thank you. All right, guys. So Tiny Baby's the assistant. Okay.
I don't
All
think
right,
we need to
guys.
continue to
Tiny Baby, if you're watching this, hit me up. We've got some stuff to settle. Thanks to everybody who joined us. Like the stream, text in Brian, buy a battery, subscribe. Have a great night. We'll see you guys next time.